everyone, and welcome to the Advocate Webinar Series event for July. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm really excited to share this webinar with each of you. Our topic for today will be juvenile arthritis and its impact. If you don't know, July is Juvenile Arthritis Awareness Month, and so we felt it was pretty fitting to host this webinar for each of you today. I know we're at the end of Juvenile Arthritis Awareness Month, but for me, I think it's important to live Juvenile Arthritis Awareness every year, or every day, because it's such an important disease. It affects children just as much as it does adults, and so few people know that kids get arthritis too. You might not recognize my voice. This is my first Advocate Webinar Series event to host by myself. My name is Julie Eller, and I'm the new manager of grassroots advocacy here for the Arthritis Foundation, and I am so happy to be here with all of you. My story is such that I have known arthritis when I was 7 years old. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which would now be idiopathic arthritis, with an updated diagnosis. And I have lived with this disease for my whole life. And I'm really thankful to the Arthritis Foundation because I feel my connection to the foundation has helped me truly own my disease and learn how my story can really make an impact and change the lives for others. This is an updated picture of me from today. So I don't always wear a tutu, not anymore at least. And I have the pleasure of having two incredible guest speakers on the call today. We have Maria Floyd, a juvenile arthritis parent, someone who has had arthritis touch her family for a long time. Maria is an ambassador, and she is absolutely incredible, and her daughters are absolutely incredible as well. And we have Lily Byrne on the line as well. She's one of our junior ambassadors who's excited to share her story, and is an incredibly poised and articulate young lady. Both of these women are going to be absolute wows for you on this briefing today. So as we get started, I want to share with you a little bit about arthritis. I'm going to give Maria and Lily an opportunity to speak later on in the briefing, but for now, let's just keep chugging along. So I can tell you a little bit about juvenile arthritis and its impact. So as you may know, there are nearly 300,000 children in the U.S. with juvenile arthritis. And for kids with juvenile arthritis, they face many of the same policy issues that adults with arthritis face. Maybe that's step therapy or a prior authorization barrier. Maybe they're worried about healthcare reform. All arthritis patients are facing various barriers to access or care. But some juvenile arthritis policies, or some juvenile arthritis patients have specific policy needs, just as they have patient needs that are specific to their community. So one piece of legislation that we're working really hard to promote, that Lily will teach you a little bit about later in this briefing, is called the Ensuring Children's Access to Specialty Care Act. And this bill is great for kids with arthritis because it helps to address the pediatric rheumatology shortage in our country. So while there are 300,000 kids in our country with arthritis, there are only 350 practicing pediatric rheumatologists. That means that not every child that has the disease is able to access the doctor that they need. Some kids have to travel across state lines. There are 8 states that don't have pediatric rheumatologists at all. And this can delay diagnosis, this can delay symptom management and treatment, and ultimately this can be a major barrier to kids and families that experience this disease. So with that in mind, let's carry our discussion through, and I'd like to tell you all a little bit about the JA conference. So this year at the JA conference, there were 2 JA conferences. We had our first earlier this month in Houston, and we're looking forward to another one later in August in Indianapolis. And at these conferences, we had the pleasure of meeting with families that are affected by JA, children of all ages, people of all ages, who want to know more about what they can do to be a juvenile arthritis warrior. That's the hashtag for this year, hashtag JA warrior, how they can be stronger than arthritis. And we had an incredible time while we were in Houston, and I'm really excited to do it all again in Indianapolis. We had advocacy programs for our youngest age group from 0 to age 2, where we read some civic engagement Dr. Seuss. For our younger groups in preschool and early elementary, we did an activity called the chain reaction, where each child was able to write a little bit of their own arthritis story and link their story with the other children in the room. As all of us have one specific experience with arthritis, when we share our stories together, we can create one collective arthritis narrative. So they all got to do that. And then for our older groups, we had the pleasure of helping our students to create their candidate. So they were able to make an ideal political candidate for elected office. And on their candidates, which you can see in the back of this picture, hanging up on the wall, they would write characteristics like open-minded, good listener, courageous. Maybe they would write has JA and understands. But most importantly, they would use their imagination to create the best candidate that they could think of. And then we held a mock election and let all candidates run against each other. And we were happy to see that those elected were those candidates that had the best arthritis stories, that were the most receptive to arthritis, and we're going to be candidates that were especially encouraged by S989, our Ensuring Children's Access to Specialty Care bill. Something else that we did while we were there, specific to the bill, was to have these posters as thank you posters for different co-sponsors of legislation that's important to us. So we thanked our co-sponsors in the Senate, our Ensuring Access to Specialty Care Act, along with co-sponsors for our federal step therapy bill. All of these posters, after our Houston and Indianapolis conferences, are going to be taken and delivered to each of these offices. Additionally, we had parent and young adult sessions that allowed our younger participants to understand what being an ambassador or being an advocate could be and what that means for each of you. So during that, we were able to hear lots of parent stories, and we were able to connect those parents with opportunities for action. So we're really thankful to have nearly 50 new ambassadors and so many new advocates in Houston. We look forward to doing it again in Indianapolis. And thank you if this is your first ever advocate webinar series as a new advocate or ambassador with our program. We are really happy to have you and really, really thankful for all of the greatness that came out of Houston. Looking forward to doing it again in Indy. With that, I'd like to remind everyone that our next conference in Indy, which I've mentioned a few times now, will take place from August 10th to August 13th. And there you'll get to learn lots about advocacy, but if you aren't able to attend, there are lots of ways to advocate from home. And we're going to talk a little bit more about today. How can we be AA warriors and advocates from the comfort of our own home? So with that, I'd like to introduce Maria Floyd, who has been an exemplary advocate and has done everything that she can do from her home state of Louisiana. She has a great advocacy story and a really inspiring arthritis one. So with that, Maria, are you on the line?
I am.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Floyd. Like I said, I'm from Slaughter, Louisiana right now. We are an active duty military family. Arthritis has been in my life since I was a little child. My grandmother had rheumatoid arthritis, so I grew up around it. But 3 years ago, actually, just like everybody else's story, we noticed something funny with Emily. But 3 years ago, we finally went from an orthopedic doctor who said, no, she needs to see a rheumatologist, to being diagnosed 6 weeks before we were to leave our station in Virginia to come to Louisiana. So we got us some meds so she could get under control, and we made the journey down here. And by the time we got here, we actually had an appointment set up at Children's Hospital, and we started the process of finding what would work for her medicine-wise. Once we got her under control, I started asking questions of what I could do to bring awareness to the fact that 300,000 kids had this disease. We had a friend that worked at the Arthritis Foundation at the time, and so she was my first contact with the foundation, and she made me aware of scholarships and that there were camps for kids to go to. And so I looked into that, and our closest one at the time was Mobile, Alabama, which for me on the side of Louisiana that I'm on. So Emily has been attending Camp MASH in Mobile, and every summer that's the week she looks forward to all year long. Other than JA conference after last year, but that's the time of the year she loves to know that she gets to go spend with her friends. And from camp last year, we were able to go to the conference out in Phoenix, and I was trying to get as much knowledge as I could while we were at conference, learning about the disease still, because in my eyes, we're still a fairly new diagnosis. And I stumbled upon the parent session about advocacy, and something just spoke to my heart that day, and I was like, I talked to him afterwards. I was like, I need to be an ambassador. I want to know what's going on. I want to make change. I want to make sure that our kids and even adults are looked after. So I sat in the class and became an ambassador, and started reaching out through the Arthritis Foundation, our state chapter, and even at the time Arkansas, helping them make cold calls to make sure the kids knew about the foundation and the power packs that were available to them. And I wanted to know more. And so our rheumatologist put me in touch with our state person, Sarah Morthland, and from there, Jamie Johnson, who's our little district area person with the Arthritis Foundation. They helped me, become more aware of what I could do, and I applied for the scholarship for the summit, and Emily and I and my oldest daughter, Sarah, are able to attend the summit. I think that's the next slide. In the spring this year in Washington, D.C. I want every parent to know, just because you may not get to see your representative or senator, they're health liaisons, and that's who we got to talk to, because at the time, that's when the healthcare bills were being introduced to repeal and replace. They listened to Emily. They didn't ask me questions. They asked her questions. They listened to her story, and they listened to her voice of what needed to be changed. That brought hope in my eyes that she was seeing me be an advocate for her the last 2 years, and what steps she could be taking, because she was turned 13 today, actually. So she's excited to be a part of the Junior Ambassador program now. But it was nice that they followed up. David was one of our representatives, liaison. He follows up with us, and also Kathy Leonard from one of our senators' office. She follows up and checks in on Emily from time to time. So it's encouraging that they heard her story, but don't give up. Be persistent. Don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to email them, because it might take them a little bit to get back to you, but they'll get back to you. And usually they follow up a couple of times. Always be polite and respectful when you talk to them. And like I said, I kind of just backed off because they asked her questions, and they actually asked their questions how it affected her as a sibling. And it was nice to know that they were looking at not just what Emily was saying, but also what Big Sister was saying. And again, don't be afraid to follow up, and be persistent, and don't ever give up, because we're going to find a cure for these 300,000 kids and adults hopefully soon.
Thank you so much, Maria, and happy birthday to Emily. We're so excited to have you here on our briefing on a very special day. My goodness, thank you for being on the call. Now we're going to turn it over to Lily, who can share a little bit about her story and a little bit more about the Junior Ambassador program that Maria had touched on. Now, the Junior Ambassador program is a brand new program, and so we are really happy to have such strong junior ambassadors for our first batch of people to be part of the program. Lily, are you on the line? Hi. Hey, Lily. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm 17 and I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland. And my arthritis story is similar to a lot of other kids with JIA. I was diagnosed with polyarticular juvenile idiopathic arthritis when I was 14, and it started in my knees, and then it Children's National Medical Center to find the right treatment, and kind of that feeling that I couldn't, control what was happening to me was a big reason why I wanted to join the Junior Ambassador Program when I learned about it, and also because the Arthritis Foundation has provided me and my family with so much support, like these past 3 years, from the national JA conferences, Jingle Bell Run, and I wanted to help because I've become more involved in the foundation to give back and to help others with this need. So why do I advocate? I advocate, like I said, because once I learned about it, the program, it made me feel like I had some control over my disease, and I could use my personal experiences to be good for other people who I'm new to the foundation. And I also advocate because it helped me gain a lot of self-confidence. Not long ago, I was kind of soft-spoken, and I didn't have as much confidence, but I've learned that my voice and my story is important. There's a lot of ways that I can help, and now I'm here talking to all of you lovely people. So, and also advocating gives me a chance to step for others. And one thing I would say about all the 300,000 kids across the country who have juvenile arthritis, it's important that we all stick together and don't give up hope. And so the Junior Ambassador Program is a great way to kind of have that sense of togetherness and feel powerful. So a little more about the Junior Ambassador Program. It's a program for 13 to 17-year-olds who have JA or are impacted by JA. A sibling or a friend. So if you have JA, and if you don't have JA, but your sister or your best friend or your brother does, then you should join the program too. And as part of the program, we represent the kids across the country who have arthritis. And we do everything from lobbying on Capitol Hill at the Advocacy Summit to, tweeting at our representatives, and really be surprised at the impact that we can have. And junior ambassadors are really the face of the disease. We have the chance to make a connection with our representatives who may not know as much about arthritis, and may be surprised to find out that kids can get arthritis too. So one way to be an advocate is to voice your support for the Ensuring Children's Access to Specialist Care bill, and you can do this by asking your senators to co-sponsor the bill, which will directly address the shortage of pediatric rheumatologists in the country. And so the ask is for them to co-sponsor the bill. And as you know, the key facts are that 200,000 children in the United States have juvenile arthritis, and there are less than 350 board-certified practicing pediatric rheumatologists, and only 25% of children with arthritis are getting the specialized care and treatment that they need. And the bill would help by incentivizing such specialists like pediatric rheumatologists to go and practice in areas where they might not have a pediatric rheumatologist, and it would make them eligible for loan forgiveness, loan forgiveness. And the National Health Service Corps offers medical students loan forgiveness, which is for working in underserved areas. And one way to advocate for this bill is really easy. Just call, email, or tweet your senators. It's as simple as sending them a message via their website, and in which you might share a little bit of your story and urge them to be a co-sponsor. Lastly, here's an example of some work you might do. And in this video, junior ambassadors share their arthritis story together. And there's some fantastic video that will help give a face to kids with arthritis who will be impacted by the Ensuring Children's Access to Specialist Care bill. So it's the perfect thing to share with your senators.
This is something that you can view by simply going to the Arthritis Foundation YouTube page and searching for the video titled "Please Sponsor the Ensuring Children's Access to Specialty Care Act." You can follow this link below. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining the webinar. Please contact Julie Eller or myself with any questions. You can reach me by my email address, jeller@arthritis.org, by phone at 202-887-2916, or by Twitter at my handle at JulieEllerAF. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great day.